The first time I saw Maxwell Granger, I knew something would break. It wasn't just the way he carried himself, with the quiet arrogance of a man who believed he could bend the world to his will. No, it was the cold glint in his eyes that told me this wasn't just about business. This was personal. I had spent a decade building Nexora systems from the ground up, pouring my heart, soul, and countless sleepless nights into a company that became the industry standard. But in a single moment, Max Granger walked into my life, and he wasn't here to praise my accomplishments. He was here to tear everything apart. At first, I thought I was imagining things. New CEOs came and went, but Max was different. He didn't care about the people, the innovation, or the systems that had made Nexora what it was. He cared only about one thing: control. And when I realized what he was planning, to erase me, my work, my legacy, I understood that I was about to lose everything. But Max made one fatal mistake. He underestimated me. I wasn't just another employee to be discarded. I was the architect of Nexora's success. And now, with my back against the wall, I was going to make him regret ever crossing me. Maxwell Granger's arrival at Nexora Systems was more than just the start of a new chapter. It felt like the beginning of an entire rewrite of everything we'd built. From the moment he stepped through the glass doors of the sleek, minimalist headquarters, it was clear that he wasn't here to preserve the culture we'd spent years cultivating. No, he was here to destroy it. At first, I didn't think much of the rumors. A new CEO? Sure, that happens. But when Max walked into the office that morning, tall, sharp, and effortlessly exuding confidence, I knew we were dealing with something else entirely. His suit was crisp, his tie perfectly knotted. But it wasn't just his appearance that screamed power. It was the way people moved around him, avoiding eye contact, shrinking in his presence. I'd been with Nexora for almost a decade. In all those years, I had built more than just systems. I'd built relationships, trust, and a reputation. I knew the company's code inside and out. I had pushed it to the limits, watching it evolve into a flagship software that was now the backbone of many high-profile clients. But in one swoop, Max was here to turn everything upside down. "Let's get one thing straight," he announced during his first meeting, after firing the entire leadership team in a cold, calculated move. That left everyone stunned. "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. If you can't handle that, leave now." The room fell silent. He continued, hardly looking at anyone. "Efficiency is the name of the game. We'll be streamlining everything. You're either on the winning side or the losing side." No one moved. We all stayed seated, but I could feel the tension thickening. For weeks, the office was filled with whispers, but no one dared to confront him. Instead, we adjusted, slowly becoming pawns in his twisted game. I had heard about his corporate takeovers before, how he had maneuvered himself into positions of power with ruthless ambition. But I didn't expect him to be so calculated. Within a matter of days, Max began to tear down our work, one system at a time. Changes, as subtle as they were, started to creep in. Our flagship software, the one that had taken me years to perfect, began to undergo alterations that didn't make sense. Max, with his lack of technical expertise, didn't even understand the intricacies of the system he was changing. I began to notice it. The cracks. Small bugs that I knew could have been avoided if he had consulted anyone with a true understanding of the software. Each misstep was like a cut to my pride. But I couldn't say anything. At least not yet. Then came the reshuffling of positions, the promotions of yes men. Max's new regime didn't care about talent or experience. It cared about loyalty. People who had been with Nexora for years were now being replaced by those who could simply smile and nod. And I was being pushed out, but I wasn't going to let that happen. Not without a fight. In the back of my mind, I kept returning to one fact. I had the patent. Nexora's reliance on my proprietary software was the only thing that kept the company afloat. Without me, Max had nothing. I wasn't going to let him take that away. The moment I received the email from HR requesting a meeting, I knew what was coming. I had seen the signs. I'd watched as Max systematically wiped out anyone who might stand in his way, anyone who might challenge his authority. And now, it was my turn. Walking into that HR office felt like walking into a courtroom, but instead of the usual faces of my colleagues, I was met with the cold stare of Max Granger. He was sitting behind the polished wooden desk, an air of superiority about him. The faintest smirk tugged at the corners of his lips as I entered. It was the kind of smirk you give someone when you've already won, when you're about to crush them and you know it. "Emma," he said, his voice a mix of charm and calculation. "I've reviewed the performance metrics and the future of Nexora. We're going in a new direction, one that I believe is in the best interest of the company." I could already feel it in my gut. This wasn't just a change in direction. This was a power play. "I've decided that we will no longer be needing your services," Max continued, his tone clipped and matter-of-fact. "I'm terminating your employment with immediate effect." It was as if the floor had been ripped out from under me. There were no warning signs, no consultation, no explanation. The woman who had built the very backbone of this company was being dismissed like an afterthought. But I couldn't let him see my shock. I couldn't let him have the satisfaction of seeing me break. "And what about the software?" I asked, my voice steady, though my heart was pounding. Max's eyes flickered for a moment, then hardened. "It'll be fine," he said, dismissing me with a wave of his hand. "We've already started integrating new solutions. It's time to evolve, Emma. You've been left behind." I knew right then that this wasn't just a personal betrayal. This was business. Cold, calculated, corporate betrayal. He wasn't just firing me, he was erasing my legacy. But he had made one fatal mistake. He didn't realize how much I still controlled. That night, as I sat alone in my apartment, I realized something. Max had no idea who he was dealing with. He thought he could throw me out and replace me with a new team. But he couldn't replace the patent. I had the leverage. And I wasn't going to let him take it from me without a fight. Over the next few days, I carefully prepared my counterattack. I gathered all the documents, the patent agreements, the licensing contracts, and the non-disclosure agreements. Everything that would prove Max had no claim over the system unless I allowed it. I meticulously went over each clause, making sure I had every right to control the future of the software. Then I began drafting a letter. Not just any letter, but a formal notice to the board of directors, the legal department, and a few key investors. It was a document that would change everything. I knew that Nexora's software could not continue without me, but I needed the right timing. Max was too confident in his power. He thought he had won, but the moment he tried to move forward with his plans without securing the rights to the system, he would find himself caught in a legal web. I sent the email late on Sunday evening. It wasn't just a demand for the renewal of the software license. It was a clear statement. Pay me what I'm owed, or you lose everything. The morning after, I received an anxious phone call from the legal department. They were already in full panic mode, trying to get in touch with me. I ignored their calls, knowing they were scrambling to find a way out of this situation. By the time I walked into the office on Monday, Max was sitting in the conference room with his usual arrogant poise, but I could see the cracks in his composure. Now, he wasn't as confident as before. His phone rang incessantly, his fingers tapping the desk nervously. The moment he saw me enter, his expression faltered. "Emma," he said, his voice strained, "this is a misunderstanding." "Is it?" I asked, leaning against the doorframe. "Because if I'm not mistaken, you're in breach of contract. And unless Nexora wants to shut down its operations by the end of this quarter, you'll have to deal with me." Max stood up, his jaw clenched, but he knew he was cornered. I could see the fear in his eyes. It was a rare moment of vulnerability, a moment that confirmed something. I held all the cards now. "I'll give you 24 hours, I said, walking out of the room with the same steady resolve that had gotten me this far. Max had underestimated me, and now I was going to take Nexora back.